All right, let me also get my... Okay, cool. So, yeah, it's been a hell of a week, guys. So I'm trying to think where we left off last stream. I'm pretty sure last stream, let's see, we were here. Yeah, so we were testing the 76K support, 74, 76K high time frame support, and I was targeting two main levels, right, of support. I was targeting the 63, or sorry, 68 to 69 area over here as a major support zone, or this lower level down here at 63, right? Which also happened to be the POC of the range from, how long was this range actually? Like, it was, yeah, okay, this was a pretty long ass range, right? And sure enough, price came down, bounced off of here, and we've seen a very good, 15% ish or so bounce from the bottom, right? Now, this is when I started to scale into my longs on Bitcoin. Started twapping right around 60. I think my order was, originally my order was 70, but I think I changed it to 68 and then just opened it all the way down to 60K. And I averaged somewhere in like 64.2 or 64.3, whatever my average is. Long to ETH, long SOL, long Doge. You know, stuck to the game plan. And we've seen a good bounce. The main thing I want to cover today is we have to be very open to this not being the bottom, right? There's a very good chance it is, but I've been seeing how prices developed since we got the bounce, and I am kind of bearish on the mid time frame, right? And I'll tell you why. So I said this for a pretty long time, where when you have a major high time frame reversal happen, okay, and also like a major move like this happen, we do not want to see a V-shaped reversal, okay? So this, right, price basically doing this is not good, right? It tells me that this intended reversal is not going to be carried out very high, right? In my opinion, I think the max targets are likely going to be 74, 76K. And I can assure you that this will 100% get taken out. There is so much liquidity generated up here. This will get taken out. But I don't like this, right? The other thing I don't like, in retrospect, looking back at the charts before the stream, right, and this wick, not ideal, right? Whenever price does this and we have these kind of wicks, usually they get at least 50% filled, okay? So if you look at USDT as well, like on the weekly, like if you look at Bitcoin on the weekly, that's the monthly, right? And we look at USDT on the weekly, right? I did say that if we closed below 8.2, this was likely the bottom. And I am not saying that this level isn't the bottom, because I still think it is. But in terms of price, I'm very open to price revisiting here, sweeping this, and then this is where we get more of a real reversal, right? Because typically, again, if we look at USDT on the weekly, I would like to see this wick half filled. It would bring us up to like 8.4, then reverse, Bitcoin, come down, right? Ideally, right? Come down, fill 50% of this wick and kind of consolidate here, right? And if we get the consolidation for a few days, that will tell me that this reversal out of here is going to be more of a real reversal, right? As of now, I don't see targets going much above 74, 76K. If price decides to move higher from here, which is the other thing I want to talk about. So this is not good, right? This is very bearish, in my opinion, on the hourly. Price took out your last swing high, right? Taking all the buy side lick. And this is a sign that MMs are just building liquidity, right? I mean, because guys, like you have to understand, when this wick occurred, these guys grabbed both people shorting the range high and also the breakout traders, right? So people longing this, like expecting the breakout to move higher, right? So this is just like a very classic sign of on the PA side of things, just MMs building up the liquidity. And in my opinion, we're just going to, even if we retest this, which I don't think we will, in my opinion, we're just going to continue higher and at least sweep 67. What is this? 67.3, 67.4. We're at least going to come. What is this? Oh, thank you. we are at least going to come somewhere in this area, right? In my opinion. Now, the question we have to answer, or not answer, because like no one knows where price is going to go. But for me, right, it's if we're going to do this, we're going to bounce here. We're going to break this and then sweep this and then continue lower. Or if we're just going to basically do this, right? And this, I cannot answer. I have no clue. I'm not saying that price can't continue higher from here, but on the hourly, in my opinion, very bearish, especially this. All right, I don't like this at all. So in my opinion, locally on the lower time frame, order flow objective would be to carry price out down to 67.3. Now on the higher time frame, I do always talk about where when we sweep the range low, order flow objective is to go back to range high, which is true. I can 100% see something like this, right? The thing is, like, there's so many scenarios here, guys, and this is like I'm not actually going to present too many trade options in this stream because there are so many things that can happen, in my opinion. Like the picture, it's very clear, but it's also not super clear in the sense of, like, I don't really have a bias right now. Well, actually I do. My bias is to at least come down and take this low, likely break it, fill 50% of this wick. That would also align with weekly on USDT. Consolidate for a few days and then reverse again, right? I just don't see price basically doing a V shape and coming up here to the higher levels that we want to target, right? So there's really not too much to update in terms of Bitcoin, in my opinion. We covered a lot of what was going to happen on this violent move down last stream. So I think I'm just going to answer some more questions here. If people have, like, what I will say is, hold up. What I will say is, okay. In terms of the higher time frame, okay? In terms of the higher time frame, we absolutely can expect a bounce here, okay? Because anytime there is a break of structure, we always have a pullback, and we do have a monthly break of structure here, okay? So we absolutely can and will get a pullback. It's just a matter of, on the local side of things, like in terms of the daily, like the next few days or the next week or so, it's just a matter of when this happens and how high we go, right? In my opinion, my most favorable scenario, right, is doing something like this, right? We come down, fill 50% of this wick, consolidate here for a few days, and then chop back higher, right? And I would definitely be, if we did that and we actually consolidated and not did some gay V-shape reversal shit, I would definitely be targeting higher. If not 84, then even 93. The other scenario I see is is price basically stays range bound. Okay, it stays range bound for a few weeks. Oops. And eventually, price will slice through this range and take out this wick. Okay, I have talked. Okay, so remember, I was very adamant about when this wick got taken, price was going to continue lower, and I was very positive that this wick was going to be taken as well. Okay, I am equally as confident that this wick will be taken 100%. While there is some local SR here from 53 to 56. I don't think it's going to hold. I think price is very much just going to slice through it and take out this wick 100%. And then from here we consolidate. Oops. From here we consolidate, and then we get the real move up, right? Those are basically the two scenarios I'm looking at on a higher time frame, okay? So to make that super clear, either chop about here, right, for a couple weeks, or we get the move down. We completely fill this wick. That's the other thing I want to clarify, okay? If we fill this wick, right? Say price does this. We completely fill this wick. As long as there is, in my opinion, I would be looking for a minimum 4 hour, but preferably if there is no daily close, because we would need a daily break of structure to confirm that we're moving lower. As long as there is no daily break of structure and close below this wick, what is most likely going to happen is we just take that, we fill this, save it on the 4 hour, most likely, but certainly the daily, right? Consolidate, go higher, right? That's scenario one, and that is what I'm most biased for. And the other is we close below this wick on the daily, get the retest, take out this wick, consolidate for, this would probably take a couple weeks, and then bounce higher, right? Don't think that's going to happen though. We've had the monthly break of structure. We're very likely going to get the pullback to at least 76K in my opinion, minimum. It's just a matter of how price is going to do that, right? And so that's kind of why I provided this range in my channel earlier today, because this is really the only thing you should be looking at locally, right? We get a break below 67.3 on the hourly. I would be very, what's the word I want to use? Very biased, I guess, for price to move lower and fill 50% of this wick. If we break higher, then price is just very likely going to come to 76, right? It's kind of as simple as that on the local, locally, right, on the lower time frame. So let me answer some questions. In terms of alts, ETH, so I kind of put out a...
For real, Hendo.
I don't know what Hender just said, but I put out basically this, I think a message like this. So I basically marked off fair value here. If you guys remember, originally back in November, December, I had this marked out at fair value, right? We had the quarterly at like 24.90, and I basically had this marked out as fair value, right? So basically anything that happened in here was very irrelevant for high time frame. I was very wrong about that because fair value was really down. We had major support at 2100, but price actually sliced through it and tapped and grabbed all of this over here back from May, which I talked about in the last stream on Sunday, like last Sunday, that price might come, take all this before reversing, which it did. So that should have been no surprise to anyone. But I do want to make it super clear that when I am talking about trading high time frame, that the reason why I put such an emphasis on fair value is because anything that happens right in here is very, very irrelevant, right? All we care about is the range high and the range low when we're talking about high time frame especially and swing trades. It's why when price came up here and tested this SR at like 33.55, I like, in terms of high time frame, it did not fucking matter, right? Like it did not matter at all. And sure enough, price just sliced through every single local support, and bulls were crying on the timeline, right? So locally for ETH, I do believe that we will chop higher eventually and test this SR right around 2250. I did have a 113 fib here, around 2110, which price has tested a couple times. But I don't think it's a super relevant resistance level anymore, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't really like that resistance level anymore. I do think that we can target a bit higher, like somewhere around 2250 for ETH. In terms of ETH, though, if price does come back, what the heck? If price does come back here, bro, I don't know why TradingView is okay. Price does come back and fill 50% of this wick. I would 100% expect ETH to move to the lower support zone right around 14 to 1700, right? I do want to make that clear. I don't expect this to hold. It would be, actually, what is this? This is a 15% drop. Yeah, it would be nice if we filled this and then consolidated and then moved up. But I don't see it. I do think that we would just move lower, take out this major support zone, consolidate, and then reverse from here, right? And then in April we can start talking about taking out the 1300 level, right? But that is my bias for ETH. In terms of a trade on it, you guys know I'm long on it. Not really TPing much until 2250 ish. If price does come back down here, obviously I'm going to be closing out my long. That should be a no-brainer. I'm obviously not going to hold down to here. I'd rather just close and then twap in a new order. So there's not really much to do on ETH. Doge. I'm not gonna lie, Doge is so fucking pathetic. Um, we tested the yearly. I think actually we closed on the daily. Okay, we closed just below it on the daily. Completely filled. Yeah, we completely filled this wick from 1010. And Doge is just it's just laughable. Like it's so pathetic. I mean, it's trading 30% below its April low. It's an incredibly weak alt. That's why I only put 10% of my spot in here. We did get a nice reversal, but I mean, it's just not. I mean, this coin is just it's very disappointing to me. I actually do have some lower levels on Doge, right down here at zero point 0.6. So what I would likely do is if I do suspect that we are going to move down and fill this wick, I will most likely TP my position and also TP my spot, because Doge, it will either fill 50% of this wick or the full wick, or just move lower and take this out before really reversing. Don't know. Just gotta play level by level. But because of how weak this alt is, I don't expect this to hold. I do expect this to move down to 0.6 or 0.06. Soul is also kind of garbage. Not going to lie. So let's see on Soul. So we did bounce from this major support zone that I've been talking about since November. We got a nice bounce, but also Soul it's not really doing much. I do think minimum we can target $100 for a like when eventually this does start chopping back up. But I mean, like guys, like first off, there's really just not much to update on these alts. We're just hanging around these like 5 to 10% bounces. Let's see, what is this? Yeah, like 5 to 10% bounces. Yeah, we're really just waiting on Bitcoin. I'm gonna be honest, like this is kind of like a boring weekly update, just because like this is really the only thing I'm looking at, right? The alts can like I don't really care about these alts, like they're all cooked anyways. It shouldn't really matter. I'm just waiting for Bitcoin, right? And I do expect again something like this. So
What's up, guys? So, I don't know how many of you keep up with my channel. Some of you are familiar names, but you guys know the plan. Said it multiple times. It's this, right? I'm expecting, some type of retrace, and then we get our final dump to, well, I'm thinking take this wick, like 40, like high 40s. So, not much to update, as Tac said. We're in this range. I'm short, targeting down here, at least 67.4 as a TP1. Let's figure show it. 67.4 as a TP1, and then lower can be depending on uh, these fibs, right? If we break below 67.4, then we can attack 67 or 65k. Break below 65k, attack 64. Going as low as down here. I mean, I can see the reasoning, but let's see. I don't know if it'll be as far as 62k. I mean, like 65k would make more sense because we fill 50% of the wick, right? So I don't think, I don't know if 62k would be that bullish. Post is in my channel, but I'll go over it again. Oh yeah, this long, I can delete it now. Pretty good long. Oh shit, delete the whole thing. Okay. So if you want to like, just compare this cycle to last cycle. Let me go on this chart and come over here. Yeah, you want to compare that cycle, right? You can see the same idea playing out. Yeah, you're 5 waves down, you're 3 waves up, and then you're 5 waves down to bear market lows. And now coming fast forward to current time, um, expecting the same thing to play out. You're 5 waves down, you're 3 wave up, and then you're pushed down to bear market lows, right? So I think this can take a couple weeks, maybe like March, April to play out. We'd pretty much just chop, 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 like we did back here, right? We chopped in this range for, yeah, almost 2.5 months, pretty much. So I would expect like the same thing, like a 2 month chop, and then you'd finally get your full breakdown, right? Just like we had here, where you had, 2 months of chop, and then you got your, you know, massive breakdown. So same thing would happen. Um, yeah, there's a CME gap up here. You guys should know it. Do, 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 do. Yeah, like this. And you know, you, looking back at previous cycles, these CME gaps will at least get half filled. Um, so if we are going based off that data, we should at least come up to, 80, 81, 82K, which aligns with the Elliott wave path that I just showed you guys. Um, I don't think we need to fill all the way. I think if we get acceptance into the CME gap, we can be bullish for just the middle range. But that would be your pretty big point of, do you need to cut, or I mean, like, should you short, and should you cut your shorts if you're already shorted, right? If we reclaim, then I think you'd be very like wary, because then your next logical level is going to be to fill the CME, right? If you fill the CME and get on top of the fill, then you're obviously going to expand higher, 90s, hundreds, like low 100. But now let's say we push up, we get acceptance into it. Your next logical target is the middle point. You fill middle and then you push down, right? This is gonna be a zone of interest for shorts, where I would take, pretty far down to bear market lows. Uh, like 48K really, 50K. Um, so yeah, again, expecting this to happen in the next month or two. Yeah, low time frame, I'm short, expecting, yeah, I already told you 674, TP1. ETH is the same plan. I'm just following BTC as the plan for alts. They're gonna mirror it, and just as Tato said, this V reversal is bearish. You don't want to really uh, be bullish at all with a V reversal like this. Just looking at other macro lows, it takes time. Um, this was an example, right? We did a V reversal, and look how it ended up, right? Just from the low of the V reversal, oh shit, we dropped, we dropped 25%, right? Over here, if you look, where we did a bunch of fake outs, chop, 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 sweep, pump, sweep, pump, and then did like almost like you like baited a bunch of longers, right? Who got in on this candle? They all got baited because they thought it was gonna get swept or swept, but it didn't. And then we had your real impulsive, you know. Here's another good example of a bunch of chop that happened, just sweeping, 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 and then finally you put a fib. You can see how it's kind of aligns. You 75% retrace of your impulse. This is like what I look for sometimes when you have this type of behavior, because once you come down to the 75% retrace, it is like a W shape fake out, right? So you push down, push up, make like this W, and then no, you expand. So you can do that. Um, USDT. I mean, yeah, again, filling 50% of the wick is pretty reasonable. So 65k BTC. So same bear targets 40, 50. Hype. Um, I pretty much gave the exact path it's running right now in my channel, and said put the A up here, then we're gonna retrace. So far we did that perfectly, and I think our final impulse is going to be up here, 39, 44, when Bitcoin hits those targets that I said. That's pretty much it. Nothing much. All right.